Hello there, Mad Mike here, and welcome back to the channel. And today we are going to be doing a trailer breakdown for the first trailer for the Hawkeye series that is coming to Disney Plus this December. And this is our first peek at this series. We knew some things about it going in. This is going to be the introduction of the Kate Bishop character, which I've been over before, as I think is kind of a stupid idea to do. When you kind of set up that the daughter is going to be the next Hawkeye in Avengers Endgame, where he's teaching her how to use a bow and stuff like that. Like that would have been the obvious one. That would have probably been better too. It would have been more organic to the universe. All right, I'm not going to go into that because regardless, it was a missed opportunity. But this is the first trailer for this, so let's just dive right in. And there's some odd inconsistencies in this, and I'm not 100% sure what the reasoning is. But when we start out in this, Jeremy Renner, playing Hawkeye, is with his family. They appear to be in, I think, New York City for some kind of a dinner or something like that. There's also apparently a Steve Rogers musical that is on Broadway. I don't, maybe because it's a by the way, this trailer is ridiculously Christmassy. Like, I didn't think that you really needed an MCU Christmas special. I never thought that was something that needed to happen. I mean, we saw what happened with the Star Wars Christmas special, or holiday special, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But I didn't think we needed an MCU one. It feels kind of weird with that character, too. Especially because he's had a decent amount of serious development, especially during Endgame and all the events that happened in that. So, I mean, they do mention that in the trailer. Like, the whole thing is basically that once Jeremy Renner's in the city, and he's basically, he's confirmed to be back with his family and pretty much retired, his past as the Ronin character catches back up with him. And apparently his family is somehow in danger. We don't necessarily know from who. It was teased at the end of Black Widow that the Black Widow's sister, the other Black Widow, Yelena, Yelena, she is going to come in and try to kill Hawkeye. So she's the main villain of the series. They already kind of gave that away, which is kind of stupid, I guess. That would have been much better if you had kind of let that one lie under wraps and then maybe reveal it in the movie so it wouldn't seem as stupid. But basically, we follow him after the events with his family, and now he's separated, and he's hunting down whoever is trying to kill him or whatever. And then we get introduced immediately to Hailee Steinfeld as Kate Bishop. Now, there are, as I mentioned earlier, I think it was a missed opportunity with his daughter to make her the next Hawkeye. But basically, she is running. It appears that she is running around in the Ronin costume. And trying to do what Hawkeye was doing during those years, that 5-year jump in Endgame in between where his family was dusted and then brought back to life. So she's masquerading as that. She winds up getting caught. He finds her. And I am assuming that's what winds up bringing him out of retirement as he sees news footage. Because they do show a little, a news shot in there. But it's news footage of the Ronin, or Hailee Steinfeld in the Ronin costume running around. Then we go into this next phase where basically it's the two of them kind of doing this various, I don't want to say like teacher-student, because I feel like that's giving this relationship a bit too much credit, at least from what the setup is. But basically they're just kind of screwing around with each other, and apparently she's already a very good archer by the time she meets him. They also have a little shot where apparently she rings a bell and also destroys the building that the bell is in, which I think is... There's a lot of humor in this trailer, and I don't think you necessarily needed a lot of humor with a Hawkeye series, even though I do like Jeremy Renner's comedy. I think he does a good job with timing. It felt like there was a lot more humor in this than what there needed to be. And moments like that, there's a few other ones. There's one near the end of the trailer where they're basically in this car chase, and Hawkeye's going through his quiver, and he's saying, no, not that arrow, not that arrow, not that one. And he's basically saying, oh, that's too dangerous, or that's not the right one. And then he gives her an arrow to shoot. She shoots it, and it's an explosive tip arrow that blows up the vehicle that's following them. And she then looks down and says, there were arrows more dangerous than that. It's an interesting little joke, and that is actually kind of funny, and that's probably the only part of the trailer that I actually legitimately laughed at. Um, Everything else just seems like it's, again, you're kind of going for humor overload, and again, they're going for that weird feeling of a Christmas movie when really none of this appears to have anything to do with Christmas other than taking place at that time of the year. If you're literally just saying it's an MCU movie, but it's Christmas time, it's like, or a show, and it's Christmas time, it just feels like it should be more serious, especially given the character and all that's happened to him over the previous few films. So I didn't really like that. The tone of the trailer, I think, is off. But then as we go through all that stuff with Kate Bishop, and apparently there's also a scene where Hawkeye is captured by some people, assumingly the people that are trying to hunt and or kill him. And Hailee Steinfeld is supposed to save him, I would assume, and she just kind of crashes through a skylight in the ceiling and lands on the ground. And it's kind of like, okay, like, bumbling moron. I kind of understand that from, like, okay, she's inexperienced and stuff like that, but it's still, like, the humor is just not matching up with what that character kind of should be portraying. Now, the other thing is that you can see in some shots of the trailer that Jeremy Renner does appear to be wearing a hearing aid in his right ear. Or his left ear, sorry. It would be his left ear. It's my right from looking at him. But basically, I think it's confirmed, actually, at this point, that Hawkeye is going to have hearing loss at this point in the MCU. Probably don't really need a reason for it. I mean, he's been next to hundreds and hundreds of explosions. So, he has some form of a hearing loss, which, again, they're taking that a little bit from the comics. But I think that the other thing in this is that really kind of threw me off was I wasn't expecting as much Hailee Steinfeld as I was. I was expecting it was one of those things where she was going to, like, pop up here and there and, like, do some stuff, but they really play this almost as, like, a buddy cop type of thing, where they're these two partners, and one's, experienced and seasoned, and the other one's a bumbling moron that has dumb luck. Yeah, you can make that work, don't get me wrong. Again, it just feels a little weird. But I think that's really all this boils down to. I don't necessarily think it's a bad trailer. It does give away a lot of the early plot of the show, including how Hawkeye finds Kate Bishop and how that whole thing starts, basically. They give, well, the gist of it anyway away. So I don't really like that about it, but it doesn't give away the finale. It doesn't give away, the end point of the movie. It doesn't really give away the main villain, even though Black Widow already did that for us. So I'm not really going to take off for that, but the thing is, it does pretty much almost chronologically explain the first act and a half of the movie. So that's not great, but I mean, if they don't, totally mess it up with adding even more crap into the second trailer that we can now compare and contrast and find out more plot points, then I think it should be fine. Again, this isn't coming out till December, so we probably will get at least one more trailer for it. This is technically considered a teaser. It's a little bit under 2 minutes, but it's basically a full trailer. One of the things is I actually do really like Jeremy Renner in the trailer. And again, I think that's because I think that he can do good comedy when he wants to. And I think he does very good deadpan comedy as well. He's very good at being, like, the straight man in the conversation, even though it's something outrageous and stupid that's making other people crack up laughing. He's very, 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 very good at that, which is a good comedic contrast between, somebody who's a bumbling moron like Kate Bishop. So I understand why he's like that. I do like that he's like that because it is at least entertaining, and it kind of just feels like, Hawkeye just doesn't give a fuck anymore. Which maybe Jeremy Renner doesn't, and that just kind of bled into the performance. But this is supposed to be kind of his swan song, I think, as the character. This is supposed to be his ushering out and the bringing in of Kate Bishop. So I can't really say much about her. I mean, the character is written a certain way. I understand why it's written a certain way. From the comedy and from the inexperience, I understand it. I think she does an okay job. I didn't see anything too cringy or bad, but there also wasn't anything there that really kind of wowed me. The only thing that was kind of good is that she did play off of Jeremy Renner fairly well, um, especially with that last little bit where they're in the car and she's screaming at him about the arrows and stuff like that, and she blows up the car and crap. That little back and forth between those two was actually pretty good. But the rest of it, again, is just kind of like, okay, it's standard MCU fare. I can still see the formula. So that's just kind of my opinion of the trailer. But I want to know what yours is. Have you seen the Hawkeye trailer? Have you not? It will be linked below as usual, by the way. What did you like it? Did you not like it? Are you happy to see Jeremy Renner coming back and finally getting continuation to that character's story? Do you like the idea of bringing in the Kate Bishop character? Any of that stuff, put it down in the comments below as usual. I like to read them. Hit the bell for notifications, hit the like button, subscribe, and remember, I live my life free of compromise. Do you?